students! Welcome to another fun-filled episode in Learning Mathematics Grade 10. I am your teacher Joy and I will be your virtual teacher for today's lesson. Join me as we uncover, explore, and learn the fun world of Mathematics Grade 10. Get ready also with your pen as well as your paper for the activity in this video lesson. Before we start, let me remind you to stay focused, watch and listen attentively, and avoid distractions.
Let us start our video lesson. So for today, we will be dealing on the probability of union of two events. Lesson objectives. So at the end of the video lesson, the students should be able to, letter A, recall the probability of simple events. Letter B, illustrates probability of union of two events. And letter C, reflect the importance of probability of union of two events in real-life situation. So, before we proceed or we formally proceed to our lesson, let's have our review. So, I have here words that you may encounter in our daily lesson and for you to review or recall your previous lesson. So number 1, we have the word probability. And then number 2, we have union. Number 3, simple events. Number 4, intersection. Number 5, events. And number 6, elements. So those are the words that would probably use later on in answering the different questions that I've prepared. For question number 1, it is a subset of a sample space. What do you think is the answer? Okay, event. Very good. Next, number 2. It is the process of how likely an event to happen. What is your guess? Very good. The answer is probability. Number 3. Outcomes that are common in both events. What is the answer? Excellent. So, intersection. Number 4. An experiment having a single outcome. The answer is simple event. Number 5. It consists of all outcomes that are in event A and event B. What do you think is the answer? Very good. The answer is union. And for the last number, a member of a set. So, typically, the answer is element. So, we are finally done with our review. So, let us now proceed to our formal. So, let us illustrate the probability of union of two events. So, when we say illustrating the probability of union of two events, so we will be dealing on the probability of simple events. In finding the probability of simple events, we need the formula that is probability of an event is equal to the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of total possible outcomes. So, the probability of A union B. So this one, this symbol symbolizes union. Okay, so the probability of A union B is the sum here. Sum of the two probabilities, and it can be solved using the formula. So the formula is denoted by your probability, denoted by letter P, close and open parenthesis, A union B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B. Now, let's take note of the following. If the two events does not have a common elements with each other, we will use this formula. And also, the formula is used if the probability of A does not affect the probability of B. Remember, if the probability of A does not affect the probability of B. So let's have your first example. Number 1. Find the probability of drawing a king or queen in a standard deck of cards. When we say standard deck of cards, it consists of 52 playing cards. So we have your 13 diamonds, 13 hearts, 13 spades, and 13 flower or your clubs. So 26 of them are red cards and 26 of them also are black cards. So let's have the probability of finding first your king. Let us denote as your first probability, which is your event A, is your probability of getting king. So out of 52 standard deck of cards, we have 4 that is king, or that is 1/3 in its lowest term. And then probability of B, or our second event, which is your drawing a queen. So we have probability of P is equal to finding your queen is equal to, there are also 4 queens in the standard deck of 52 cards. So the probability is 4 over 52, or this is your number of favorable outcomes divided by your number of total possible outcomes, or your sample space, or your lowest term is equal to 1/3. Since the two events does not have or doesn't affect the probability of one another, so we use the formula probability of A plus the probability of B. So this one, probability of A plus the probability of B is equal to your probability of king or probability of queen is equal to 1/3 plus 1/3, or that is equal to 2/3. So this is now the lowest term of our probability. Let's have described the other formula in finding the union of two events. So still, the probability of A union B is the sum of two probabilities and can be solved using the formula. This one is the second formula. Your probability of A union B is equal to your probability of A plus your probability of B minus the probability of A intersection B. So this time, there is a common element between your A, event A, and event B. So take note that if the two events do have a common elements with each other, we will use this formula. And the formula is also used if the probability of A affects the probability of B. With your example number 3, if a card is drawn from an ordinary deck of 52 cards, find the probability of getting a heart or a face card. So the first one is we will solve for the probability of A, which is your probability of getting heart. So how many heart are there in 52 standard playing cards? So there are 13. So 13 over 52. That is the probability of heart. And then probability of B, or the probability of your face card. When we say face card, those are your cards that are your jack, your queen, and your king. So there are 12 over 52. Since there are 4 types of card in that standard deck of 52 cards, so each card, so diamond, there are 3 face card, heart, 3 also, club, 3, and then yung spade, there are also 3 face card. And for the probability of A intersection B, so this is, or it denotes the probability of heart that is also a face card. Is there a card, or is there a card that is a heart in shape and also it has a face card, or it has a face. Heart that has a face. So there are probably 3, which is your Jack of Queen, or Jack of Heart, Queen of Heart, and then King of Heart. So the probability is 3/52. So for the final answer, you will just substitute it in the formula. So probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A section B is equal to 13, or this is 12/52. 13/52 plus 12/52 minus 3/52, that is equal to 22/52, or in simplest form, we have 11/26. So I hope that you will learn something from this video lesson. So would you try to answer the following? You may screenshot this one for your activity. So I will just give you 5 minutes to do the task. So number 1, if a card is drawn from an ordinary deck of 52 cards, find the probability of getting a red ace card or a queen. And then for number 2, if a card is drawn from an ordinary deck of 52 cards, find the probability of getting a black card or a king. So for the solution of the try this activity, so for number 1, for question number 1, you may use the probability of A union B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B. So let's have your probability of A, probability of red ace card is equal to 2/52. Probability of B is equal to your queen, that is equal to 4/52. And then probability of A plus your probability of B, or finding the probability of your ace card or queen, that is 2/52 plus 4/52. And the probability of ace card or queen, that is equal to 6/52 or 3/20. And then try for the solution number 2. We will use the formula probability of A union B is equal to your probability of A plus your probability of B minus the probability of A. So here is the solution. So probability of A, finding black card, which is equal to 26/52. Finding the probability of B, or the probability of king, which is 4/52. And then the intersection of black card, that is a king, that is 2/52. And for the final probability, we have 26/52 plus 4/52 minus 2/52, or that is equal to 28/52, or the simplest form is 7/. For the summary, let's have the probability of union of two events can be solved using the formula probability of A plus the probability of B, and then probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A intersection B. So it can also be used in solving situations in life that involves probabilities, unions, and let's have the notes to remember. So the probability of union of two events can be solved using the formula. And let's have note number 1 for probability of A plus the probability of B. If we use this formula, we have to take note that if the two events does not have a common element with each other, we will use that formula, this one. And note number 2, the formula is used if the probability of A does not affect the probability of B, this one. And then for probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A intersection B, we will use this if the two events do have a common elements with each other, and if the probability of A affects the probability of B. Okay, so for the evaluation part, you may screenshot this one and you will submit your answer probably to your teacher. Your assignment, so you will have this, or you will do this in your notebook and to be checked on the next day. So thank you so much for watching. See you again on our next video lesson.